Worst to best, every cornerback archetype in college football 27 ranked. Number one might not be who you think it is. And guys, I study cornerbacks for a living as an NFL draft analyst. And even I was surprised by how my rankings turned out. Let's get into it. But before that, as always, hopefully you find this content actionable, engaging, educational, entertaining, all the good things, all the good vibes that will lead you to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and then share it with another fellow player of college football 27. Let's get into it now. If you've been living under a rock, if you've not loaded up this video game yet, number one, what are you doing? It's a very fun game to play. Go ahead and jump in. But there's 4 cornerback archetypes: boundary, bump and run, field, and zone. And that's where we're going to start at. We're going to start from 4 to 1. And for me, number 4 is zone. Zone defenders, and again, all of these guys, all of these archetypes have their pluses and their minuses. All of them are good and great in specific areas, depending on how you want to call your defense. If you are primarily zone, type of player, if you play primarily zone, I'm talking about 90% is just straight zone, this would be the archetype for you. And the abilities that they get: knockout, layout, house call, ball hawk, bouncer, they get those type of archetypes, right? Those abilities to this archetype. And you see here, this is a computer generated recruit and player, like from one of my rebuilds, my offline rebuilds. We're about 6 years in, and he has 84 overall. I believe he's a junior and everything, and he already has house call, right, which helps with the chance of interceptions and everything. So when you're talking about playing like zone defenders, typically because their eyes are on the quarterback, they are more prone to making the plays on the ball, right? Ball hawk, house call, like laying out for diving passes, chucking with the bouncer ability, and knockout, right? Being able to knock the ball out of the receiver's hands because you're attacking and you're triggering and clicking and closing, right? But not only just that, let's look at some of his stuff. When you see this kid, I think he was if I remember correctly, I think he was a 3-star and everything, Terrence Murphy. And what was so, you see it here, he's only got 3 skill caps on man coverage. Only 3 on man coverage over, like, totally, right? So that's a really great thing to have, right? To have only 3 skill caps on man, his zone coverage can go to max. You can max him out as a zone corner if you, but see, that's also the dichotomy, depending on his, I can remember his dev trait. You got to think, once got like on 26, on college football 26, we were more prone to seeing play like your players hit the draft with a 90 plus overall typically, or if they were just a senior, and then the CPU wanted to make them a drafted player, they got drafted 6-7 round. You're like, okay, that helps my grade, right? My pro potential grade at that specific position. But let's talk about it and let's think about this. On 27, no, these guys can. I've had some players at 87, 88. They dipped. They went to the league because it's in the. I want to explain why that's important and it's realistic. Every year now, of course, things have changed the last couple years in my work, in my line of business with the NFL draft and scouting. You do see more players going back because of NIL. I would like to see that be a thing. I don't know if it's a thing in here yet. I haven't gone through a full coach bill yet. It may be an archetype where you can absolutely just throw money at a guy and he stays, right? But I think that should be a part of it because that's what colleges do now. I know specific schools, and I've talked to players where they did not go to the league, right? Because their school was willing to match the first year of their rookie contract because they were like a late day 2 pick. And it was like, well, we can match that first year, let you come back, get some more experience, and go back to school. So that's a real thing that, hey, you got guys that will go earlier than you'd like. But I just would like to see the ability to scout them back or recruit them back like they do in real college football, right? But I have another zone corner I want to show you. This Manny Escalante, right? Computer-generated recruit for BYU. He's a zone corner. He's a 4-star, 6 foot, 200 pounds. And you see his man coverage only has 2 skill caps, but this is the wild part. His zone coverage has 5 skill caps. So he's going to be a better man corner than zone corner, but he's not going to get those true man-to-man abilities, and that's what worries me with this archetype. Is that, yes, you can have the great, rating in terms of man coverage, but you can't get press. I mean, you can't get jammer. This is the only archetype. This is the only archetype that you're not going to be able to acquire blanket coverage or jammer, right? You can't get blanket coverage or jammer with the zone archetype, and that's why that's a kind of a big thing for me overall. It's just, I mean, he's fast, he's explosive, like he's a great player, like he's got great potential. He's a 78 overall, right? They got to do, there's some things they have to do to finish aggressive. He's only a junior. The fact that he's a 78 overall is just kind of crazy to me. But still, like zone corner is the one that I would say for me in terms of how I'm building my secondaries in my cornerback room. That's the last one I'm willing to go at. I'm not spending, if I have unlimited NIL, I'm not going after the zone guy first. That's, first, second, or third, to be completely honest. But next up, let's talk about number 3. For me, it's the I'm going to go with the boundary. Yeah, I'm going to go with the boundary corner. And in the boundary corner, this is a DeMarco Terrell, 85 overall for NC State, right? And as you see here, man coverage is already 93. Like, so you get the boundary corner, and to put it into perspective, let's talk about it. Boundary, you think about on the football field. If you get a 3-by-1 set, that 1 is typically to the boundary, which is the short side of the field, while the 3, the trip side, the strong side of the offense, is to the field with more space, the wider side of the field. So typically, you talking about 3-by-1, or we want to isolate our X receiver. That's the boundary receiver, and this is a boundary corner. And DeMarco Terrell, his man coverage is already good, 93. So with the boundary, like, he only has like 3 skill caps, so he's got 93 man coverage. What I like is that it's affordable, but also as he progresses it, so will his press coverage, his press ability, right? So he's going to be able to play press better, but also look at his zone, right? Let's look at his zone. His zone coverage, 84 play recognition is there. He's got 1 skill cap. He's got 90 speed. Now, that's the one drawback I would say with boundary, going through the 3, even 4 stars. Boundary, they did not have, how to put this, they weren't the most athletic. They were not the best athletes. And I'm talking about 90, because even with the zone guys, 3 and 4 star, these dudes they're out here running. Like, they're running 4.3s, 4.2s, 96, 97 speed after a couple years. You're like, Jesus Christ, right? Like, so they got recovery speed and all that, but they just don't have the ability to gain that. Those top 2 abilities that you see here for DeMarco Terrell, jammer and blanket coverage, improve press technique, and improve man coverage. So being able to blanket a receiver while having 93 man coverage rating, that's near elite stuff, because that's going to be able to allow you to shade inside, route commit, and leave that guy on the island, right? While you roam with your safeties or your linebackers. And because there's times I've run in some of my offline stuff, just testing or even practice, where I have a really good corner and I'll play in zone, but I will change some of my guys' zones or their responsibilities, and I'll take that boundary corner against that X receiver, and I'll go man to man. So they get jammer and blanket coverage. Getting those 2 abilities is going to make you OP with these man-to-man type of corners. You get layout, you get wrap up, and you get quick jump, which means even with quick jump, you're talking about being able to off the ball, jump routes, be explosive downhill. Again, as I'm talking about all the time, clicking and closing, that stuff matters. I'm telling you right now, that stuff 100% matters. So number 3 for me is the boundary. And that was a 3-star boundary corner. That was a 3-star boundary recruit that the computer generated. He had matter of fact, he had a higher overall than the 4-star zone corner, right? He had a higher overall, and he's a better player. So again, I boundary to me, because you get the best of both worlds in terms of man and zone, while also getting a guy that can make plays. He still get good abilities, but I can isolate you. I can leave you one-on-one. I can develop you as a pure man-to-man guy, get those abilities, and really allow you to be a lockdown defender, especially with the jostle system in man-to-man coverage and stuff down the field. Yeah, I want a guy that's going to make it difficult from the offset. I'm talking off the rip. The ball is snapped. We're in your chest. We're taking your wind, the wind out of your sails all of that. We're eliminating what you can do and getting the ball out down the field. Now, my number two archetype, let's talk about it, guys. It is the bump and run corner. Now, this is for my man coverage guys. So this is a 3-star, a 4-star, I'm sorry. He's a 4-star bump and run corner, computer generated, same dynasty that I've gotten all these graphics from, these screenshots. Alan Kinoy, right? And this is a guy that he has 3 skill caps on man coverage, so you can get him almost maxed. But then his zone coverage is almost maxed, right? So you see that. And even right now, look where the bar is on, like, in terms of his skill, of how much they've progressed him as a man coverage corner. But he almost has 80 man coverage rating. Change of direction is going to be there. So as you progress, not only is man coverage and change of direction going to improve, that press coverage, that awareness, all that's going to improve. Then you can, like I said, almost max him out on zone. You got a lot of room to grow for him for run stopping. Hands can improve, all of that, right? So this is another situation where you're talking about playing man-to-man coverage. That's what you're going to get out of this archetype. And they get blanket, they get jammer. They also get house call, ball hawk, and knockout. 3 things that the zone corner has, but zone doesn't have blanket coverage or jammer. So they give you those extra abilities, or those abilities where you kind of combine it and you mesh it together, where I can play man-to-man coverage, I can play zone, I have the ability to knock passes out of the catch point, we have the ability to get to improve the break on passes with ball hawk, and then with the house call, talking about being able to like at least have all 5 of these activated, right? You've acquired and you've bought all 5 of these for your players. So now this corner, Kanoy, and I've seen this, guys. I've faced corners who had the abilities, because remember, Scott O'Gallagher, SG, you know what I mean? Like, OG came over from 2K where they have the badges. I've seen corners, excuse me, I've seen corners that they had like a 79 overall. They weren't the creme de la creme. They weren't the highest overall, but they had abilities in man coverage, like jammer and blanket coverage. Even if it was just the lowest tier, right? They had it. And then what? Their man coverage is in the 70s, low 80s, and they're just pressing my receivers. And I mean locking down. They are in the hip pocket. I feel like I'm facing prime Darrelle Revis out here. And I'm like, this dude has a 78, 79 overall. What is going on? But it's a simple fact of the matter is he has those abilities. So those abilities in man coverage, they mean a lot. And for me, it's everything. I need you to have good ability, especially for man coverage. But let's go ahead and close this thing out talking about my number 1 archetype, and that's the field corner. I love the field corner. Here's a 4-star recruit from that Memphis rebuild I was doing. I'm like in year 6 or whatever year it is. And so this is a 4-star, Rashard Denson. He's 6 foot, 177. A little bit on the shorter side, because a lot of the field corners that I've scouted, recruited, and everything, a lot of them are like 6'1", 6'2", even 6'3". But you see here, he has 94 speed, 73 man, 73 zone. Press has to improve, but he already can tackle. He's got good change of direction, acceleration. Okay, whatever. Maybe we can try and boost that, save up some skill points or whatever. Press, again, has to improve. 65 on the catch. He already has robber technique. He comes with adrenaline, team player, and road dog. And that's just coming in as a freshman, right? Just as a freshman out the gate. But not only that, let's look at a 3-star here. Jabari Thomas, another computer-generated guy, 6'2", 181. Like I said, 6'2", 181 on, and I'm 6'2", 181. Man coverage through the roof. Can max out his man coverage, right? Can max out his man coverage. He's got more skill caps on the zone, so you don't get him to the highest of heights for zone coverage, but he can absolutely be a lockdown man-to-man corner, because you can get him all the way up there, right? And catching. Look where it is. He already has 86 catching, right? So run stopping is going to be good for him. You get wrap up, you get robber, you get knockout, you get blanket coverage, and you get ball hawk. So talking about being not just a jack of all trades, but being complete. That's what I love, is that this archetype is my favorite archetype in this game so far, because typically they come in meeting my height, weight, arm length, wingspan. Like, this kid's his fingertips are almost in the middle of his thighs. His arms are long as F. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're long, bro. So what does that mean? It simply means this. When you have this archetype, the field archetype, again, you're getting wrap up. So he's going to be able to tackle and be a guy, a forced defender off the edge. I'm talking real football here. Forced defender off the edge, robber, right? Playing zone coverage, clicking and closing, triggering downhill, and taking the ball away. Knockout, he's attacking at the catch point, right? Blanket coverage, man to man. I put him on the island. I activate that, and he's locking in. And he's locking in. Ball hawk, you test him too many times, he's going to break up passes. He's going to make a play on the passes again, because that archetype, to me, you get yourself that field archetype. You got ball hawk and robber with blanket coverage. That's OP, guys. That is what we call OP. And again, for me, it's simple. I want my corners that can do everything, because at the same time, hey, what if, let's say I have a lot of depth at corner, and let's say my free safety gets hurt. A field corner I can put them on the depth chart and start them at free safety, because you can tackle, you got this, you have the speed, right? The ball skills, the coverage ability. Now I can bring you down, put you man to man against a tight end, because tight ends are the biggest cheat code in football. Tight ends are the biggest mismatch on the field in football. That's why NFL teams always look for tight ends. What, the 2025 NFL draft? What, Colston Loveland, top 10. Tyler Warren? He was top 15 to the Colts. You had Harold Fanning, Elijah Arroyo. Like, that's why that tight end class was legit, right? Brock Bowers went top 15 because he was one of those ones. So again, that's an important thing overall, guys. But I wanted to kind of talk about that and break that down on what I look at when I'm building and let's talk about that. As I close out. I want to have my corners, my field corners on the outside. And then I would like to have a bump and run guy. I think it's bump and run. Let me look back at bump and runs. So they get blanket coverage, jammer, house call, ball hawk, knockout. No, boundary. Sorry, I also would do boundary, because they have wrap up and stuff like that. I like my slot corners to be able to tackle. That's why if you watch my my Coastal Carolina rebuild, which if you haven't tapped into that, 3 episodes in, I got episode 4 coming up Monday or Tuesday, already in production, working on that. In real football, nickel corners, your job, you can't play nickel if you can't tackle. That's just not what you do in the NFL. So if you watch my Coastal Carolina rebuild, I took my strong safety Jalen Lee for Coastal Carolina, put him in the nickel, and put the second, my strong safety number 2, have him as the start, have him in that number 1 role when we go to those nickel and dime sets. Because I know Jalen Lee can tackle, he can blitz, he can play the run, but also he can cover as well. So that's how I want to do that. I want to have someone in the nickel that can cover man-to-man and in zone, won't be a liability in either or, but they also can tackle and they can blitz and get pressure on the quarterback. And if you test those bubble screens, wide receiver screens, smoke screens, he's the type of guy with quick jump and things like that. We can attack downhill, click and close, and get to the football. But guys, I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all for tapping it. Hopefully you found this video and this content actionable, entertaining, engaging, educational, all the good things, all the good vibes, man. It will lead you to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification, and share this channel with another fellow player of College Football 27. Again, guys, episode 4 of the Coastal Carolina rebuild is on the way. I might be mixing in more rebuild content. I was thinking about doing a Northwestern rebuild, like a 3-4 year rebuild. Can I get them to being the kings of the Big Ten the way that Curt Cignetti did? I want to start doing some Curt Cignetti type of challenges and everything, taking some of the worst teams and see if we can make them the best team in about 2 or 3 years. So let me know in the comments what team you would like to see me do that challenge with first, and I might mix that in between the actual episode for the Coastal Carolina rebuild, things like that. I'll have more. I'm gonna do a safety video and stuff like that too, because safeties are big. I'm talk about the hybrid, just talk about the archetypes for the safeties and everything. So guys, I appreciate y'all tapping in, appreciate y'all tuning in. As always, man, I'm Coach Dame, and I'll see y'all around the way.